everybody, it's Ike from Flipside Music, and welcome to F.A.Q. What the F.A.Q. number
48. We're doing a short redo of 47 though, due to technical difficulties.
Yeah, sorry about the video last week. I know it totally sucked.
We wanted to send you guys a curveball because we felt like our other stuff was just too good. That
we wanted to bring ourselves down a notch.
Yeah, just kind of bring us back down to the ground and just really do a crappy video.
Yeah, yeah. We just want to make you guys understand. You know, we're real people.
Yeah,
at the shop.
Real out of focus people.
Right. Lacking focus. So we're still working through the camera issues. We don't know what we're doing. Clearly.
Yeah.
So we're going to go. But thank you for joining us with this is going to be a tough one. Thank you for joining us for what the F.A.Q. number 40 whatever.
48.
And we will jump right into the questions because we're running out of time. Yep.
Yeah.
We're playing the hell out of this.
Yep. We're doing a speed recap of last week. So Ben Coombs, his question for last week was, have either of us owned a talk box? And if we haven't, why not?
Oh, we don't have to redo the video from last week. No, that one's nah. We're not redoing that.
Well,
shit.
I thought we would because people were saying they couldn't hear anything, so I figured we'd at least.
Nah, it's over. It's in the past.
All right, so Ben Coombs, herpes. Moving on.
Yeah. No talk boxes due to herpes.
Exactly.
Herp. Due to the herp.
That's more for used talk boxes, but anyway.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll go to the new ones.
Yeah, you don't get herpes from new talk boxes.
As far as we know.
Just so the talk box company doesn't call us and be like, you guys are spreading rumors.
Well, what if like the one lone tester guy at the talk box factory has herpes?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's gross.
That is gross.
All right. All right. Well, it's. All right. Tim White says, "What is good and bad about Denver's explosive growth? For me, the ability for us to have so many really solid jazz venues is really supported by growth." So, what's the good and the bad about Denver's explosive growth? So, for those of you guys that don't live here, Denver it's incredible the amount of growth we've seen in the city in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's huge.
I mean, I moved out here in 2001, and it's not even, there are parts of town that aren't even the same.
Well, yeah, like when I was a kid, was the last part of like when Aurora and some of the suburbs didn't physically connect to Denver.
Right.
Now it's all one thing, all the way to Boulder now.
Yeah.
Like where when I was a kid, you had huge open spots where none of that was there.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's, I don't know how long some of our viewers have been here, but like I know when my mom moved here with her parents, like all the suburbs were miles and miles apart. It was just farmland.
Yeah, I moved out here in 2001 and the whole, the Low-High area that they call Low-High. So, if you ever watch South Park, there's an episode where they just name all the different parts and they make up, Soda So Papa.
Yeah.
Soda So Papa. And that's no bullshit. Like, everybody that's moving here is just renaming
shit
neighborhoods.
That's been here for forever and it drives me crazy.
Yeah, so I live on the north side of Denver, which is kind of that's what they used to call where I live, is the north side, which was the Italian neighborhood, so I ended up in the right spot. But now they got names for the slow high and whoa slow, and it's just so ridiculous.
Sobo and
Sobo. Well, Sobo's right
I know,
here.
but it's like just
Rhino District is
South Broadway, North Denver, north side.
But Rhino didn't even exist. Nobody gives a shit because you guys don't live here. But anyway, so what does that mean? According to the question, that I have to read again. The good and the bad about the explosive growth. I think with having so many more people being here, I think that there's a lot more musicians. It's good for us.
A lot more variety.
As a business, that's really cool because it helps us. I think there's more musicians. I think there's more people bringing influences to our community. And we already have a really good music scene here. We've said that before with a lot of different genres and stuff. So for me, I think it's pretty awesome because there's going to be more.
Well, I think now that there's more people here too, we have more bigger acts coming through more regularly too, which is kind of cool because that was infrequent, for the longest time. Whereas like you'd maybe get one or two good ones like in the summer, but the rest of the time it was kind of, Red Rocks was really like the best in terms of the big draws. But like now I feel like it's almost packed, you know.
We can go, I mean, there's so many good. What's cool is we have so many cool like old movie theaters that are now venues. So it's a cool place to go check out a show. But then you can get these medium-sized bands that come in and are able to pack a place.
Well, I even love like the bigger bands that decide to go to those, because then you get like a much more, for lack of a better word, intimate gig. But I feel like it's just a much cooler experience when you're, you know, in a tight theater room like that.
Tight. My biggest regret, when I first moved back to Denver after going back to New York, then coming back to Denver, long story. It was like 2013. Prince was doing his hit and run, and for like $300 he was playing right down the street at the Gothic, and nobody wanted to go because I had a bunch of broke ass friends. Nobody wanted to go. It was like $300 ticket, and I was like, man, I should have went. I still regret not going, because I was gonna go by myself. Yeah. Because it was Prince. This is not a big theater, and I was like, that would have been
at the Gothic,
that would have been the coolest thing to see Prince at Gothic. Yeah. But what are you gonna do? So I guess the long and the short of it is, I think the good stuff is we're going to have better clubs. We're going to have more stuff. There's more people going to support local music. Right. You know, the bad part is traffic sucks, and there's a bunch of douchebags that keep
renaming parts of the city.
And there's a bunch of people that are. There was a real cool vibe, and there's a reason why I moved here. When I moved here, and I feel like some of that is getting changed by people coming in and not necessarily being absorbed into the vibe of Denver and Colorado. Because they're going, this place sucks. It's not exactly like the place I just left.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is like we get a lot of people from Austin now too. I've noticed that are moving here because, and it's weird because like they moved from Austin to here thinking it would be like Austin again, but now that it is starting to do that, now they're like, well, shit, because they can see it coming. Yeah. And so it's like now, because it is kind of getting to where now we're not on the same caliber necessarily as Austin, obviously, but I feel like Denver is heading.
We're heading in that
direction, and especially we're getting way more local music than we ever had. So that's probably, definitely the biggest part of the explosive growth in terms of the pro side of it.
Yeah. All right. So that's that. Oh. So Tim also asks, that was part 2, is what can we do to encourage more venues to have at least some seating? So that's, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like that used to be a more common thing. They would just have like, especially the seating up front and maybe standing room in the back.
Right.
And especially with like the theaters around town, that used to be a thing, and then now every place just gutted all the seats, and it's all just...
I think it's easier. That's why, without the seats,
you can fit more people in.
You can fit more people in. You don't have to clean up. I mean, I worked in plenty of venues and places over the years, and it's like, man, you got to break all that shit down, pack it all up, mop the floor. Right. You're going to mop the floor anyway. Much easier to mop it without having to clean and store chairs. True. And there's also an expense with that. And so I personally like some seating, because now I'm getting old, and I'm like, I don't want to be standing up for hours. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, standing up for hours and hours and hours on end for concerts and stuff like that. Now, man, I like it when go to a local bar or something, so I can just like belly up to the bar and watch the show. Yeah. Or have a place that's got
somewhere and just.
You know who's got a good setup is the Toad. I don't even know if they're the Toad. I think they changed the name. I think they sold it.
Oh, really? Well, yes,
the Toad has a good setup.
Well, they have that cool circle bar around the stage area, which is a cool, because that way you can sit there, have drinks, socialize, but still see the stage, which is cool. Right.
So there's a place down here. It's south of here. They have the stage. Then there's like a dance floor, if you will. Then there's some tables, and then they have like this half moon circular, basically like a bar top table. I mean, it's gigantic.
Yeah, bar level too.
But you can sit there and have a beer. Right. You can shoot the shit. You can kind of lean over. It's right across from the bar. I love that layout. And plus, that room actually doesn't sound like shit. So it's a pretty good room.
Yeah, I've seen a few clinics there too. Even Rupp's Drums used to do some of their clinics over there.
Yeah, it's a nice little spot. It's just kind of out of the way. It takes me a half hour to get there from my house.
Yeah, it takes me.
And it's straight down the street, like literally a half hour straight drive down south.
Now, like depending on traffic, it takes me like an hour and 10 minutes to get home from there. But yeah, in terms of seating, I do agree. I think it's also band dependent. There's certain bands where I don't give a shit if I'm standing because you're just so into it. Then there's other bands where when they kind of pull back, a seat would be nice.
Yeah, maybe lean down a little bit. You know, bass solo.
Exactly. All right. Mr. Coombs, his question for this week is, what would you look for in a bass player? So speaking of bass solos, what would you look for in a bass player? The ability to do funky bass solos. That's my number one criteria.
Just really somebody that, well, I mean, I think this qualifies for most bass players. Just locking in with your drummer, making sure that you are the bedrock of the band. I mean, I know we give drummers and bass players a lot of shit, but the truth of the matter is, if you ever do like band practice without your bass player, things can kind of get off the rails sometimes. Because I know for me, I'm usually listening to where the bass is changing mostly for what I'm doing.
I've always had an ear for the drums, but to me the bass follows the drums, so you inherently follow the bass.
Yeah,
so
I'm usually
kind of
bass and then like the hi-hat. Because that's usually kind of giving me where,
Yeah, hi-hats give me pacing, and then for me, like the cymbal changes are what cue. Like when I know a cymbal change is coming up, that's when I know there's also a chord change, most likely. Or even just a piece change within the song. But yeah, I mean,
I think also too with the bass players, just listening, like really being, Because I mean, there's bass players that get lost and they're not paying attention to what else is going on. Sometimes I've seen it, and like just being able to kind of really, really nail the changes like exactly the way it should be.
Yeah. And I actually kind of like bass players too that don't just. Because some bass players, and it's fine if you're just locking down the beat just to hold it, but I do like some of the ones that'll venture out there in bits.
Yeah,
where
I like
they'll kind of walk down to something, or they'll kind of, they can't always, not necessarily like picking all the time or playing all the time, but they're at least moving around and doing some variety.
And I like some like bass fills, in those, like in a little bit of a bar, like before the chorus or something. Or I was listening to actually Billy Squier. Lonely is the night when you find yourself alone. But there are some cool bass bits in that, that I didn't really notice or pay attention. I had headphones on, so I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that. And when he comes into that chorus, there's a cool little ditty that he does before it goes in. It's like, oh, that's a lot of fun. So,
well, that's what I love about like Jack Bruce and Geezer Butler. Like they always they're soloing just as much as like Iommi and Clapton respectively. So
I love it when guys have like a cool, melody going on too.
Something. Yeah, exactly. Stuff, where he's like,
end whistle
outside of the band, but still somehow holding it down. Yeah.
So that's what I say for bass players.
Yeah. So we just compare our bass players that we run into to like Geezer Butler and John Entwistle. That's what I want. Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. Or Jaco. Maybe Jaco Pastorius.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know.
Somebody totally normal. Yeah. All right, Camp Buzzo, and I have a feeling that's Cade, but I'm not sure.
Camp Buzzo.
Yeah, he's a particular Melvin. He loves Melvin, the Melvin. So I feel like that's got to be possibly Cade. But anyway. He wants to combine a couple topics from last week, so I said, which local bands have the best between song banter, and who do you not mind talking a bit between songs?
I'm going to pick my normal pick.
Oh, MF?
MF Ruckus.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but honestly, a lot of local bands a lot of them don't have a ton of banter here, at least the bands that I see. So.
Or if it's just short.
Yeah, like quick introductions, and I guess that's
thanks for
kind of
coming out, blah, blah, blah. I wrote this song when I was wasted. Right. So.
Actually, there was one band. Who were they? They were from Colorado Springs. They were almost like kind of Colorado bluegrass type stuff, but a little heavier.
Wait a minute.
It was at the High Dive.
Bluegrass in Colorado?
Well,
say it ain't so, Joe.
Well, it was like heavier, like mountain. It was interesting, like electric bluegrass.
Was it aggro,
yeah.
Bluegrass.
Well, there was
bluegrass.
There was an aggro kazoo solo several times actually.
I think a kazoo with a fuzz pedal, because kazoo's naturally fuzzy.
Right. Yeah, fuzz it out with a fuzz pedal. Yeah, add a little delay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Nick.
Oh.
All right.
One last one.
Yeah. John Harden asks, you always have the guy at practice and gigs that is pecking around on his instrument. What do you guys think about the pecker? I think I know what I mean. Like the guy that just can't stop noodling when you're in the band.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Now, I could be that guy sometimes too. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I think everybody does it
a little
here and there, but like there's definitely like I know of one particular instance of one where like you could not have a conversation with the guy in the room because
So I think it makes me a little bit crazy. It drives me nuts. But I used to play with these dudes, and the one guy used to just solo all the time. So he wanted to do. He wanted to do. I don't remember what song I was trying to sing, but they're like, "Oh, you want to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do that one." And he would just solo and noodle through the whole effing thing, and I was like, "Dude!" And I got so aggravated. After a while, I just finally. He was always loud, super louder than everybody else, and he was always. There's Zach right there, and he was always noodling and soloing over the top. So I'm like, dude, I'm trying to sing and you're soloing. Like, have some respect. But then if you did that to him, he would lose his shit.
Yeah. See,
so finally, I was just like, you know what, this isn't gonna work.
Right.
It just wasn't gonna work. So
yeah, before it gets way worse.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, you know what, this
before the shovels are involved and all that.
Right. We gotta get the
lime.
back's
kind of sore. Yeah.
We gotta get the lime, the shovel, the long drive, the gas money, packing lunches. There's a lot
concrete. It's just
there's a lot that goes into that, you know. They give you the recipe.
After a while,
in the Italian newsletter, they give you the recipe. So I think that's it. That's the end of this episode. So thanks for tuning in. Please do the thing. Ask us questions for next week. And you know what?
Ding-a-ling.
Yeah, hit the button. Let them know when we do it. Next one will be live on Friday.
We got people everywhere.
We got people all over. So thank you. Appreciate it. Catch you guys on the flip side.